Endorsements, the holy grail of owning free gear from all of your favorite brands. Imagine owning all of the gear you've ever dreamed of from companies like Nord, Cord, Yamaha, Shure, Sennheiser, MTD, Fender, and much, much more. But let's face it, most of you will never get an endorsement. Why? Because you're unconsciously exhibiting 9 habits that are holding you back. Want to know what they are? Well, let's dive in. Hey, and welcome to Music Space. Here we help working musicians monetize their craft. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated on new videos. Now, right before we get into this video, if you're a band, artist, or musician looking to make some serious passive income and grow a huge fan base, I'm advising all bands and artists and musicians like this to start a YouTube channel today. And that's because right now, YouTube continues to be the biggest growth opportunity for bands, artists, and musicians to gain a huge following and make lots of money. And because of this, I've created the YouTube QuickStart course. This course is specifically designed to get you up and running and making money and growing a huge fan base on YouTube really quickly and easily. And the best part is it's completely free and you can get instant access to it at the link in the description of this video. Okay, so we all know endorsements are really great to have because of the free or at least discounted gear you get. It's great because of the exposure you get from the brands themselves, and it gives you a sense of credibility. But the first habit that's keeping you from getting an endorsement is lack of professionalism. And if you've seen any of my videos, you know I'm really big on professionalism, and it's for a good reason. A lot of these brands that you want endorsements for, they want professional musicians to endorse. So guess what's going to happen when you submit a form to get an endorsement for them? They're going to ask for references and they're going to reach out to people to ask about you. But you have a habit of not being on time and not showing up for gigs, not returning text messages and emails and all of that on time, but you want an endorsement. And that leads to the next thing, which is you have a poor online presence. So a lot of musicians simply don't have any sort of significant online presence. And I'm not just talking about like the amount of followers that you have on a social media platform, though that's important as well. But I'm talking about like stuff like you don't have a website, you don't have anything like a calendar where people who will give you endorsements want to see your gig calendar. You don't have anything like that posted. So when they go look for you as an artist or as a musician to give you an endorsement, they can't even find anything. So you need to really have a good online presence with your website, your social media, and all of that. And the next thing is you have a lack of engagement with the fans that you do have. This is something that I teach all the time and that I explain about social media and stuff. It's not just about the numbers. Like you can have 100,000 followers or subscribers or whatever, but if none of those people are dedicated to you and you don't have any sort of engagement with them, that's just a number. And it's especially just a number to someone who is trying to give you thousands of dollars worth of equipment for free. It's about having a strong, curated fan base, not just a number of followers. And the next reason you're probably not going to get an endorsement is because you have no track record of having any other endorsement. And this is really a tricky one because it's like that, you know, when a job is trying to hire you, they want you to have experience, but in order to have experience, you need to get a job. So it's kind of like one of those things. But in this case, what you want to do is go with some of the really smaller brands that don't have a lot of name that will be more likely to give you a sort of brand deal or something like that, where you have a little bit of a track record of having an endorsement. That way the larger companies can see you and they can say, oh, this is how this person deals with this. You see how that works? Now, the next reason you probably won't get an endorsement is simply because you're not proactive at trying to get one. And what I mean by this is, of course, you're out there asking like, how can I get an endorsement and all of that? And that's cool. But what you need to have is you need to have your press kit together. You need to have some material together that when you're going to seek out endorsements, you're proactively doing it. You're calling and making some, sending emails and stuff like that. You have something to send those people. I mean, think about it. What are you going to do? Call up a company like Yamaha or Nord and be like, hey, what do I have to do to get an endorsement? Or, hey, can you give me some of your free stuff? And they're going to be like, okay, so what can you send us? Now, another really big reason why you won't get an endorsement is because you have a lack of originality. So like the thing is, again, these companies are looking for people to endorse. They want artists to endorse their stuff, but they want a variety of artists and not just people who are carbon copies of other artists. And unfortunately, it's the case that a lot of us musicians and bands and artists, just copy off other artists in their style, the way that they play. We do the same licks they do, and we don't have any sort of uniqueness about ourselves. Like if you were to call up your favorite company right now and speak to them about giving you an endorsement, and they ask you what's unique about you, what could you say? And it's not that you have to be like super unique, like this out of the box thing that no one has ever seen or experienced before. You just need to have something going for yourself that's a little bit different from what everybody else is doing. And that could be something as simple as the types of gigs that you do or the types of audiences that you play for. Something that's a bit unique from what everybody else does. And the next reason you won't get an endorsement is a really big one, and that is because you have a lack of professionalism in your live performances. Now, I know I spoke a little bit about professionalism earlier, but this one is a little different because what happens is a lot of musicians, they have as part of their press kit or part of what they show on their social media, them playing and stuff like that, and it looks really unprofessional. And I'm talking about professionalism in a lot of areas, starting with your video quality and your audio quality, but also like the way you look and the way you dress on stage. Like you're just not consistent with the brand that you're trying to get. You're not being consistent with their image. And of course, a lot of stuff like that becomes less important to these brands. If you have a really huge following with a lot of engagement and stuff like that, they'll let that stuff go. But that's just not the case with most musicians. So you're going to have that professional side of it in place in your live performances. And that leads to another reason why you probably won't get an endorsement, and that's because you have inconsistent branding. And this ties in really closely with what we've been talking about as it concerns professionalism. The fact of the matter is that professional people have a brand. Look at some of the artists and musicians that you like that have the endorsements of the companies that you may want to get an endorsement from. And just look at their brand, look at the things that are surrounded by them, look at their messaging and what they're putting out. There's a consistency to what they're doing. But this is something that I mean also. So like if you're trying to get an endorsement from, say, Nord keyboards, you may not want to send them a video of you playing a Yamaha or a Chord keyboard. It's just inconsistent, right? And that thing right there leads to another huge reason why you probably won't get an endorsement. And that's because you don't have an understanding of the brand's products. And here's what I mean. If you manage to get one of the representatives who gives endorsements on the phone to talk with them, or you're exchanging emails or whatever, they're going to want you to demonstrate an understanding of their products. So you're going to need to discuss and talk about how their products can be used in your music and what you do, or in the studio, or whatever the case may be. Otherwise, you're just going to sound like a random person that's just asking for something. And as you've noticed, professionalism has been one of the biggest themes of this video, and that's because it's important. And it's so important that I've done quite a few videos about it. You can check those out right here, right now.